Welcome. This is Bill Swartz in Scottsdale with Rideshare Redemption. My story, from riches to rags to rideshare. Reasons to believe in a changing America. Today I'm speaking about outthinking karma. After looking over the professional profile I keep in the car and hearing my story this week, a passenger asked a very intelligent question in a very kind way. How exactly, in retrospect, had I lost my footing on the path between success and homelessness? Which masked a bigger question. How can I keep this from happening to me? Major point. As much as the science of success has to offer, the anatomy of failure has more. There are countless ways to succeed, but only a few basic ways we as human beings fail. My major failures have been the result of what I call outthinking karma. There were shorter, less kind labels it would be fair to affix to the system I used to live by. A less obtuse alternative descriptor would be rationalizing wrong. I thought I could outthink karma by rationalizing wrong. My father was a lawyer and a law school professor with a PhD from Columbia University, whose favorite job, as he told it, was defending the rights of sex workers and heroin addicts in the criminal courts of New York City. He was my Atticus Finch, the most ethical human being I ever met. He was tall and handsome, gifted intellectually, a truly great human being. I, however, didn't feel I was any of those things, other than knowing I was very different from other kids in the way I saw the world and thought about life. My parents split very early, and I was raised by my father. We had a dysfunctional childhood, moved all the time, and were raised to a great extent by housekeepers. My education suffered, and when all was said and done, I was not going to see the professional success my father had, while I would inherit a dysfunctional personal existence. I was surrounded by drugs and counterculture at the time, and I went to college believing I had no future and would die young, like many of the artistic and pop culture heroes of my generation had by then. The summer I met my future wife, in 1976, I had dropped out of college and was planning to move to San Francisco. Falling in love changed all that. I transferred to her school, became a 4.0 student, and completed college, graduating with honors. In her presence, I saw the promise of my own potential. She knew nothing of divorce and dysfunction. Her family had dinner together whenever possible. She showed me that the way I had been raised wasn't the self-improvement seminar I had told myself it was. A new life had appeared with my name on it, one that would allow me in one fell swoop to reclaim my existence from the scratch and dent table it ended up on, while breaking the chain of marital DNA I had become positive I would be a link in if ever I married. I wish I could say it was a dream come true, but I can't because I never ever allowed myself to have such dreams. But all of that paled in comparison to the power of the vision I had of creating a functional, sustainable life for my children, steeped in forever family environment that would literally redeem my soul as the worthless human being I was sure I was. And why was I worthless? Because I had not been able to rescue my mother or protect her in any way from the ravages of the life that befell her over time, or to do the same for my brother, who stayed with her and his father. I got to have a life filled with wonder, and they fell off the truck along the way. I never forgave myself for that. I'd found a purpose bigger than myself, which is to say, I found a cause worth sacrificing myself for in having a family. And so I built a money-consuming ego machine and chained myself to it so I could never leave, fueled by nothing less than the substance of my soul. I had to imprison myself in impossibility, distract myself from the big who, what, why questions of right and wrong, or else my marriage, ergo my family, might not make it. And if my marriage didn't make it, I was convinced I would cease to know my children as I had ceased to know my own mother after my parents broke up. So I focused on rationalizing wrong. I convinced myself that if I fed the dysfunctional beast inside me, offering my soul in perpetual sacrifice, it would let my family survive. Furthermore, through that sacrifice, I rewrote my internal story from that of villain to hero. And so in that way, I became someone who thought he could outthink karma, the karma of consequences, the karma of children growing into adults, questioning the toxicity of the soil they were sprouted in, and the karma of personal accountability. The karma of personal accountability. That one has been the worst, the least kind, the most punishing. And that is as it should be. When I finally decided to go down a different path, that led to a slow breakdown of the tower of rationalizations I had built, replacing it with a rubble of regret. I fell into a very deep, dark depression, fueled by a desire to hold myself personally accountable for all the mistakes I had made. And the punishment was to become the destruction of every element of myself which had become tainted. Hence, I took my life right down to the bone. But I didn't stop there. I whistled right on past zero once I got the habit going and just started hacking away what was left of the good parts. To hurt and disappoint my children has been the greatest tragedy of my life, and probably theirs. I will forever regret it. So what is the lesson here? What is the answer to the question, how did I lose my footing? I created a false reality without the consent of those involved. I thought I could suspend the law of accountability for a good cause. I thought my soul was what mattered least. I thought I could outthink karma. I was wrong on all counts.